Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to this session. I'm Xiaoyun and with me is Xue Ying. So this session is part of an ongoing series in which GI gets together with our friends from Singapore's sustainability scene to talk about the value of intangible strengths. Through this series, we hope to recognize and celebrate different strengths that GI has built up over 12 years. So far for intangible strengths, we have covered the past few topics are connecting with nature and connecting with other humans. And today we would like to talk to our friends from Back to Ground Zero about the strength that we can get from taking action, from experiential learning. So basically, I think experiential learning is as it says, you just roll out your sleeve and you jump right into it. So yeah, we thought what better way than to talk to our friends from Back to Ground Zero who got together and, practice different ways of, they took on different environmental habits and they also organized festivals to encourage mindful living. So I will not share too much because it's for sharing to share. So we also want to talk about the importance of having a safe space to navigate through various experiments and failures. And because experiential learning is meant to be messy, so there's no guaranteed success. But that's all part of the fun. So Shane, could you give us a background of yourself and your organization?
Hey, hi everybody. I'm Xue. I'm 25 years old this year, and I'm part of an interest group called Back to Ground Zero. So it was founded with two other friends, Maria and Yushen, and we all met kind of through mutual friends and stuff like that. And so we came from a kind of eagerness as a group to tell people about the importance of environmentalism, of saving our Mother Earth, and slowly from there we developed into now what we think is more of a mindfulness, a holistic way of living, more sustainable living, and yeah. So I mean, through the whole process, we've dabbled in different areas. We've planned events and festivals. We've done talks. We've done workshops. We've done stuff on social media. If you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, yeah. So we are currently, we're still growing. We're still learning, and we are growing. In fact, now we are a 5-people team. We have 2 other new girls with us, our designers, Adri and Cindy. And yeah, so we are constantly learning from people how to be mindful in our own individual journeys, and also as a group, how can we support each other, and also in the larger community of Singapore, of people who are interested in sustainable and mindful living, and how to grow as a community. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Back to Ground Zero team, they have an Instagram called Back to Ground Zero, and one of the series that is featured is called Been There Done That. So it gives an unfiltered perspective of what it's like to take on all this minimal waste, plant-based lifestyle in Singapore, which can be quite difficult because it's more successful overseas So my 2 favorite episodes are actually the one about dating and how if two people have very different perspectives about vegetarianism, or how do you navigate those conversations. My second favorite is the one about shampoo, the very first one whereby the no poo challenge, because it's someone with long hair and I just want to control the amount of oil and grease it produces. So I know no poo challenge is very popular overseas where it's not as humid as Singapore, but you guys took it on. So what's your mindset when you encounter such events of failures in your zero waste journey, and how do you find the motivation to keep going?
I mean, for us, the failures is inevitable in any kind of learning journey, and we find that it is very important to stay very transparent about it, and stay very and be okay with being vulnerable, and be okay with being uncomfortable, or be comfortable with having uncomfortable feelings, basically. And sometimes when you are faced with failures, in terms of you don't live up to your own expectations and your own sustainable living journey, it can be very disheartening, it can be very disempowering. And for us, what we want to do is understand and tell other people that the zero never gonna be perfect. You always see on Instagram that people stuffing 6 months worth or like 2 years worth of trash in one single jar. And a lot of the times, people would expect that would be like the typical zero waste journey, and most people cannot achieve that. And in fact, we are not even close to doing that, especially because of how our Singapore system works. And it's important to recognize, all this these barriers, these obstacles that's definitely going to be in our way, and to understand that it's okay to meet these obstacles and to take a step back, and to not say, oh, I have to live up to my own expectations, I have to live up to this ideal of what a zero waste journey should be like. And if you are going to be pushing and fighting for that ideal and trying to live up to that, even though your reality is you're somewhere here and your ideal is somewhere here, you're never going to reach that. And if you're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, you'll definitely burn out over time, and it is it's not sustainable for your own mental health. And that is why we're also not only dealing with mindful living in terms of environmentalism, that in terms of caring for our Mother Earth, but also in terms of how are you going to live sustainably with your mental health. How are you going to do this in the long term? This is a lifelong journey. It's not something that you are going to achieve in 1 year, 2 years. It might take 20 years to figure out what works for you, and that's okay. And that is something that we try to advocate for in all of our anything that we do as a team. For our events and stuff, we do a lot of failures. We recognize there are gaps in certain areas, and we always ask for advice, ask for feedback. And even for like what you said, if I've been there, done that series online, we are constantly showing off our failures. We're like, this doesn't work for me. Showcase our plastic use when we're recycling. We showcase our skincare products that are not zero waste, or we showcase how we are breaking down because of this journey, and it's perfectly normal, and that is something that everyone is walking through. And I think because we are showing them that we're normalizing that mistakes, failures are part and parcel. Really helps other people be vulnerable as well, and helps other people be empowered to continue with this journey and very honest with themselves. And be vulnerable, you build that for you, and that's where the heart of all this. We want to continue to show kindness. We want to continue to show vulnerability, not only to Mother Earth, but itself, to other people, to the animals and stuff like that. The most important part of this is that includes kind and loving to yourself.
I think striving, I resonate with that. I think striving for like moral purity in our society is so hard, right? Like, and moreover, it's like you can do it maybe, but it's not like sustainable. Yes, and you're just one person. What matters more is like tapping on the collective energy, and as you say, like creating a community that's willing to be vulnerable. So speaking about your community, what's like the demographic and like the general community of Back to Ground Zero? Like who have you reached out to, and do you have plans to expand this outreach?
I think currently, our demographic is definitely quite similar to us. It's mostly like the young females in my generation, and that comes from multiple reasons. Firstly, if you look at it objectively, the environmentalists or the vegan community is mostly the young female. But to deny it, and also secondly, I think people in that demographic relate to us because we are so similar, and they find us as it's like a counterpart or a friend that is just like them. And I guess they can relate to our content a lot more. And because we don't explicitly do it, or it's not something that we are trying to curate, but sometimes comes from a young like
Mm.
kind of perspective, and it also comes from a female kind of perspective. So it's hard to shift that gear as well, because we have to be very conscious about thinking about different demographics and what caters to them. And it's hard because we don't have experience, and a lot of our content comes from experience and our
Mm. Mm.
yeah. So we are trying to make sure we are as inclusive as possible. We don't want to be too niche or too narrow and exclude people who want to learn and who want to be involved in the process, involved in this journey. And currently we are also branching out to children as well, because we do understand how important it is to educate the youth, educate the younger generation, because they have such impact on our future into what they want their own future to be. They have so much gain with social media, they are so empowered now with so much activity going on online, in their own lives. And we do believe that these young minds are brilliant, and they have so much to share, they have so much to say. And so we do want to give them the space to empower themselves more.
Mm. How about like when Ground Zero Festival came to GUI? Because then GUI actually is not just like a young female community, right? Like there's actually like a wide range of ages, and also like I would say quite balanced across genders. What was it like to work with GUI volunteers, and did you also think there's room for experimentation, honest mistakes in GUI?
I think, I mean, the GUI community is just so, they're just so open. They're just so accepting, mistakes, accepting failures, accepting experimentation. That's brilliant. I think, I mean, for any kind of dance learning, making mistakes and experimenting and figuring out, especially when it's not like first, there is not only a room for it, but that it will have to be part of the process. And I think what very open-minded, always communicating very well with us. They are very, very good at making priority. So the product is the end, as in the product is always the process of learning together, always having that open communication, and not making things, not making assumptions, and understanding everyone is going to be being very nurturing about it. I mean, for us, there are a lot of things we know in terms of sustainable living. For example, I was the one who introduced to us, the whole wash fast and the tea.
Yeah.
What to our water source, and what's it like to be composting and stuff like that. So we have learned so much from GUI as well, and I think to be humble as well, to understand that even though you are part of this community of environmentalism of like something, but you are never like the all. You still have so much to learn, so much to grow, and it's I bring all to this platform to continue, because everyone has their own experiences, everyone has their own learning points, their own strengths, their own weaknesses. I think, just make sure that all play a part, and we all work together to build together as a team, and it's not just about anyone's ego, and final working together is the best.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, I resonate with that. Yeah, because I saw you guys when you came to the Ground Zero Festival, and how it's so much to plan for. There's so many elements, and definitely you must be like flexible and adaptable on the spot lah. You cannot just be like So, and these kind of things you can't learn until you make a mistake. They say like experience and wisdom comes from mistakes. So yeah.
There was so much on the spot. There was so much like like holy shit, but like okay, we've gonna get this through, where, and on sometimes it's just on the day itself,
Mm-hmm.
right before things are supposed to happen, nothing happens basically. Like people don't show up, lawyers show up, things come in, and you're just like, okay, just have to roll with the punches and understand that you're more resilient than you are. People are not as judgmental as you think they are. Get through this. Yeah, I think having faith in each other and supporting each other, and even like little things like giving each other hugs, giving each other a smile, telling you've got this and stuff like that. I mean, it's just that people to people connection that really empowers you and gives you that strength to keep going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how this conversation is going. Like we're talking about the strength of taking action and experiential learning, but it's slowly like moving us towards like what is the environment that's needed for this experiential learning to happen, right? And so like I want to hear your views on how we can create such spaces in our schools, workplaces, or Singapore in general. What are some like principles that different environments can take on to allow its individuals and humans to be able to to learn experientially?
I think definitely, to create a safe space for learning itself, you have to let people speak up, and you have to be okay with people speaking up about perspectives or or opinions that you might not agree with. And it's important to understand that everyone has their own perspective, everyone has their own experiences, everyone had their own upbringing and background that might lead to value to you, and that is perfectly okay. No one's ever going to be thinking the same thing as you, because it only makes the people who are exactly like you,
Yeah.
where nothing is going to happen. There's no change, no improvement. So I think everyone has a different perspective. That's perfectly okay. I think also stemming from that is to be very non-judgmental about other people's experiences. You might not agree, but but they might not be wrong as well. They definitely have their own value or viewpoints. There's value in their viewpoints, and we do have to for it. And also, I think safe spaces for learning is creating a safe space for letting people seek advice or seek help, because other people would definitely want to learn from you, and to be able to do so, to teach them in a nurturing way, and to let them know that it's okay to make a mistake, and we are in this together. I'm also learning, and we are going to learn and grow together. So having that humble point of or having that humble standpoint where you are not a teacher teaching you, but we are learning together. I think that is very important. Even if you are from the leadership, even if you are from the higher ups, there are always things to learn from your employees. There are always things to learn from your students. There are always things to learn from other people. So I think lastly is definitely to reframe mistakes and failures and opportunities, because I feel that a lot of times we are very disheartened because we put down people because they fail, and we think of it as something that is wrong or something that is unacceptable. But I mean, no one lives through life without making mistakes. It's mistakes that build us. They make us who we are at the moment. They are basically the building blocks of everything we know. And I think it's very important to understand and to reframe all these mistakes as opportunities, as learning points, as like using that growth mindset to understand that these are milestones for you to expand more, to grow more, and to learn even more. And that is something to celebrate. So I think people should celebrate mistakes and celebrate failures and not put them down. I think these are just some things off the top of my head that I can think of building that place for different.
So reframing mistakes as opportunities, seeking help, and celebrating mistakes. Yeah. So maybe just to end off, can I get like some final pearls of wisdom for anyone out there who's inspired by the minimal ways of plant-based lifestyle that you guys are leading and have no idea like of the next steps? What are some like quick wins, or maybe not quick wins, but like sustainable habits that they can take on, that they can slowly build on, on top of their regular life?
I mean, usually the simplest things would be, for example, just not using a plastic container, not using
Mm-hmm.
plastic bags. Just the simple things that everyone has been talking about. Saying no to plastic cutlery, to plastic straws, and stuff like that. Those are like the simple things that I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone can do in their daily life. Because all you have to do is say no.
Yeah.
You don't have to do much, and most of the things that you need is already in your home, so you don't need to buy more things. In fact, and I think minimal waste, it's very easy because you just need to be minimal. You don't need to buy more stuff. You don't need to have more than what you actually have already. Everything you need is in your home. It's in your mind. It's basically everything you need. But I mean, if you do want to go further in this journey,
Mm-hmm.
can't exactly say what's physical steps you need to do, because I'm not in a position. I don't know what works for you or not, but do your research, talk to people. I think that is basically the only thing you need to do to learn. And that's the same for plant-based lifestyle. There are definitely going to be obstacles in your way. Like I had multiple setbacks from family, from friends, from relationships. It's all it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. But I think the easiest way, if you don't know where to start, is just ask
Mm-hmm.
someone who knows or who is already on this journey, and also be open-minded to what's going to be ahead of you. Do your research. So figure out what people have been doing, what people think is suitable for them, and also analyze if that's suitable for you. And it's okay if there's not. Figure out what fits you, and it doesn't need to be in the next one day, next month. It might take a year to figure that out, and that's part and parcel of the learning process. So yeah, I mean, if you don't know where to start, ask someone. There are so many people learning together. There are Facebook groups, there are Instagrams. You can DM us. Definitely back to ground zero, Instagram. Yeah, just ask if you don't know anything. We'll be happy to give you any help or any support that you need. Then also, do your research. Google is your best friend. There's so much on, you can choose what fits you, and don't be afraid to fail. Yeah, this is be afraid.
Yeah, good. Sounds like a good way to end the conversation. Yeah, actually, I find it so, I never really framed the green journey in this way, like as a method of experiential learning. But it totally makes sense. It comes from your mindset, right? If you start from that mindset of growth, then you understand that it's not linear, and you can some days you can have like wins in your green journey, and some days it's just not your day. But it's about a long-term lifestyle, and it comes from a place of care. If you come from a place of care, then I guess that's good enough, and it'll keep you going. Yeah. Maybe final words from Xueying. I have no more questions. So yeah, how you wrap up or anything?
Yeah,
Well,
final
no, so we can like
final words, huh? Love the environment, love the animals, and love yourself. That's all for us, I guess. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed our chat, and I hope that you learned something from this talk, I guess. Yeah, and feel free to approach us. You can approach or approach us at Back to Ground Zero if you need any advice or any help, or you just want to chat and say how much you related to us. Yeah, and thank you for everyone's time watching this chat, I guess.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay. Stay safe. Take care. Yeah.
Bye.